was there to actually meet authors with hopes of producing something that was an interracial movie or web series or show. I happened to be the only author at the conference that wrote screenplays. And screenplays, it's really technical. It is not like the easiest thing to learn. So that was kind of how it fell in my lap. I happened to be the only person at a conference of authors who knew how to write a screenplay and who had done it many times. I had samples. I have whole movies I have written. So, we talked. I showed him my samples, and it took off from there.
Wow. So, Lola, I have to ask you, you said that you have been writing since the third grade?
Yes.
Were you one of those kids that published your first book through school or wrote a book in school? Like, how was your journey to go from writing as a young person, very young person, and then transition into screenwriting and then eventually end up with novels? Because you started with writing, very young.
Right. The journey was an odd, weird journey. I always wanted to be a movie maker. So I always wanted to write screenplays. My first book in the third grade was about UFOs, so it had absolutely nothing. It was like sci-fi. But throughout the grades, I still wrote, you journal, you do things like that. But senior year of high school, I wrote my first screenplay, and it was really deep. It had to do with these teenagers. And the screenplay got passed around the high school. So I typed it up because, it was way back in the day. I typed it up, put it in a binder, and it just went around from person to person. And people were trying to figure out if they were the characters in the screenplay. And from there, I got such good feedback from my peers that I'm like, this is what I want to do. This is what I always wanted to do. So I took a stab at it. And I had been doing it ever since. And then I just briefly stopped for a few years to write novels. And now I'm just trying to balance both of them. So it was just a dream I had because I love movies. I have like so many DVDs. I go to the movies all the time before the pandemic, of course. And it's just something that was always in me. So I didn't really know any other way to be. I thought that I wouldn't be successful as a published author or screenwriter. So, you go to college and you're like, hey, I'll teach. But then when the self-publishing game came about, it was the realization that, no, you can be an author. You can produce. You can get your work out there to the masses.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned a little bit about teaching as part of your vernacular. Do you have any plans to do like a screenwriting workshop for authors or writers who are looking to get into that line?
I would love to do that because it's really, really technical. And I've been asked before, I met a producer recently, and she asked me if I had any authors that, she could talk to because she wanted to produce a small segment of their book, romance novels. And I couldn't really give her anyone because no one knows how to screenwrite. It's not that difficult, but I didn't like the fact that I wasn't able to give her one name from my peers. I know a lot of romance authors, but I didn't have anybody to give her. But I want us all to, have our work produced in some form or fashion, to see it on the screen. But if people are willing to learn how to do it, that's the thing that matters. And I have no problem helping anyone or having a class or some kind of tutorial to show people how it works.
Well, when you decide to do it, make sure you get in touch.
Yes.
Okay.
We definitely want you to come on the show and promote that. So, Lola, I want you to tell us, as far as your books, if as a new to you reader, where would you say I should start? Where with your all the titles that you have?
Okay, if you are new to me and you like standalone novels, I can say my most popular standalone novel is The Boss Lady. It's a few years back that I wrote it, but it was very popular. It was one of those stories that I had burning in me to tell that I had to stop writing something else to write it. But if you like series, I would say my most popular series is the Balls to the Wall series, and it has 7 books. It's the series that people continually ask me, when will you write another book? And I really want to do that, but, you know, with so many other ideas popping into your head, you guys know because you're creative. So you have so many ideas. It's just a matter of, you know, going to one idea and actually putting it down, typing it up. But Balls to the Walls, the series, if you're into series, and if you like standalones, I would say The Boss Lady. But my latest standalone, Sweet Love, is something that I'm really proud of. It's my first novel that is 95,000 words, which is a high point for me.
That is awesome.
All right. Ciara, any more?
Yes. So, Lola, I love the title, The Boss Lady. Can you tell us, I mean, the title is intriguing alone, right? Because we all want to be the boss of our own lives, to be in command of our lives. Tell us a little bit about that book? Who's the hero? Who's the heroine? What's the premise of that book?
The Boss Lady is BWWM romance, which is Black woman, white man romance. And the premise of it is the basic, you know how Black women in general, we get labeled as being bitchy or bossy. And I really wanted to put a woman in there who I felt, you know, she wanted things done a certain way. She had money and, you know, she has a good job. She has a great house, car, and she wants things a certain way because she feels like she's earned this certain level of respect. And I felt like some of the labels that people put on Black women are not really the labels that we deserve. So I wanted to show this lady who was a boss, but also had a really soft side to her, that you had to chip away at the hard exterior, and you could really find a real flower or gem inside her, deep inside, because she's this way for a reason.
Right.
And so it's basically a romance with a boss lady.
Yeah. And who's the guy for her? Like, what does a hero for that type of woman look like in a Lolah Lace romance?
Well, my hero, I started it out, I hate to tell the premise of a book, but he is suicidal because he's had a lot of tragedies in his life. So, I felt like this was the perfect hero and heroine to put together, a woman who has control of her life and everything, and a man who's pretty much spiraling because of like a tragedy that has occurred in his life, and he's having a hard time moving forward and, going forward with his life when he wants to end it all. And he just collides with this woman, and she kind of turns his life upside down and gives him something to think about and gives him meaning or reason to stick around.
Love it. Love it. And, that's a unique twist on a hero. It's not a hero that we see very often. So I'm so excited because I'm sure like all of your screenwriting talent kind of pours into crafting these unique characters. I think that's what makes screenplays and movies stand out, right? It's something that we see a twist on everyday life. So we definitely have to have you back, Lola. You create that screenwriting course that we need to take so we can learn how to do all that technical writing for screenplays that you're talking about. But until then, tell us where you are on social media and where can our listeners find you this year?
Well, the number one place you can always find me is my website. I offer books on my website. So if you want to download directly from me, my website is www.lolalalace.com. that is the place you go for all the information, all the updates, and you can sign up to my newsletter. I am also at Amazon, and I'm also at Barnes & Noble, Google Play, Apple iBooks, Kobo, and Smashwords. But if you want to talk to me directly, you could also find me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. It would be nice if you could subscribe to my YouTube channel or just come follow me over at Facebook. That's where I update everything and tell people what's going on with me and what upcoming releases I may have.
Wonderful. Now, are there any events that you're participating in, Lola, where listeners and readers can get to know you, spend some time with you, up close and personal?
Well, in 2021, hopefully, if the pandemic is over, I will be at the IRAE, which is the Interracial Author Romance Authors Expo, and it will be held in Daytona, Florida, and it's in April. So you can definitely go over to my website, and I have past pictures from the event, so that's how you could find the event. I go every year, but except for this year, of course, because of the pandemic. But I have plans to be there in 2021. And I haven't put other events up yet because we really don't know what the future is going to hold. But usually I do about 4 events per year.
Okay. Wonderful. Wonderful. Lisa, any final questions?
No final questions. Just wanted to point out that we did all meet at IRAE last year.
That's true.
So
yes.
Yes, we
wonderful.
did.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And, you bring up an excellent point, Lisa, how IRAE, Interracial Author Expo, has been a place where we could come together as a body of authors and make connections, feed one another's creativity. You mentioned that you met the producer for your first screenplay at IRAE. So listeners, if you haven't gone to the Interracial Author Expo in Daytona Beach, Florida, in the spring of every year, I certainly encourage you to grow. I've met both of these lovely ladies there and a lot more. So what I'll say before we sign off tonight is author, screenwriter Lolah Lace, thank you so much for taking your time to come on Women on Words and share your time and your talent with Lisa and I, as well as our listeners. We so appreciate you.
Thank you, Lisa, and thank you, Sierra, for having me. I can't wait to see you guys in 2021. Because I know you got to be coming back because this is a blast.
Of course.
Yes, we will be. So, listeners, we're getting ready to sign off, but what I will say is Lola listed everywhere her books are. You can find them on her website, Amazon, and all the major retailers. Go out there and check her out, and you can find her screenplay turned into a movie. It's called Single and Ready on Amazon Prime Video. So until next time, I'm going to say follow us here on Spreaker, on Stitcher, iHeartRadio, YouTube. Follow Women on Words on Facebook and Instagram. And until next time, be awesome, be amazing, be wow. We'll see you next time. Have a good one, everybody. Bye-bye.
Good night.
Good night, Lola.
Good night. Thank you, guys.
Good night, Lola.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you.